Welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, flying solo on this one as I dive into what I've learned recently about North Carolina's offensive line, one of the most important position groups on the team, a unit that is part of allowing 89 sacks over the last 2 years. Sam Howell's last year, 49 sacks last season with Drake May. 40 sacks, and many of them came on the back end of the season. In fact, there was a point in time where the sacks allowed narrative was pretty positive, that Tar Heels had made tremendous strides, and they still gave up 9 fewer sacks in one more game than a year earlier, but it was still way too many, especially when the defense managed just 19 sacks. So a 40 to 19 sack discrepancy was awful. And that's without even considering the tackles for loss allowed and tackles for loss gained. So I'm going to dive a little bit into the offensive line here and what I've learned as the Tar Heels are more than midway through fall camp right now, less than 3 weeks from the season opener, September 2nd, against South Carolina. The starters are pretty clear right now. You got William Barnes at left tackle, and moved over from right guard a year ago. You've got Ed Montilus at left tackle, although I expect to see Willie Lampkin a lot there. Corey Gaynor at center, Jonathan Adorno at right guard, and I think you'll see Lampkin there as well, and Spencer Rowland at right tackle. There's 6 that the staff is very comfortable with, but they need to go 8. And I have pressed about this the last couple of weeks about where this unit is as far as getting to 8 deep. All coaches tell you they need their offensive line to be 8 deep in order for them to feel pretty comfortable with some guys that are pretty multiple there. Now, with Willie Lampkin, he's going to play a lot because he may end up getting starter snaps by filling in at tackle or at guard for Montilus, at center for Gaynor, and a guard for Adorno. Lampkin was the Sun Belt Conference Offensive Lineman of the Year last year, playing center after being a guard his first couple of years at Coastal Carolina. So he's an experienced guy. He's a guy that can spell you a lot, but you still are going to need someone to spell you some at tackle as well. I don't think Adorno, Montilus, Lampkin, or Gaynor are going to go out to tackle. Carolina is very thin at tackle right now. So where do they go for that? Well, I think Diego Pounds is someone the staff would love to see climb into a role where he can get a series here for Barnes, a series there for Rowland, that he could be trusted enough to also allow them to get him some absolute needed experience. He needs to get on the field. He's a guy that would be highly coveted in the portal. And one of the things Mac Brown has talked about lately is the need to get kids on the field to kind of keep them from inching toward the portal. It's a reality now. And he's referenced Dean Smith a couple of times, where Dean Smith taught him when Mac first got to Carolina about the importance of playing your bench and keeping guys happy and keeping guys dialed in and clued in on everything that's going on. So I think you'll see Diego Pounds some early in the year to see what he can do. And if he excels, I think you'll see a little bit more of him. Well, who else are you going to see? I think they would love to get Travion Green out there too. Travion Green is a massive individual. If you go look on our Twitter account at Heel Illustrated, I posted a picture of him from practice last week, the first full pads practice. I had to back up. I had to back up to make sure I got him in the shot, his whole body in the frame of the shot. He's a big dude. And one of the things that's impressed me about watching him, and I've watched a lot of the offensive drills and practice so far, is that he's moving better than he did a year ago. And you need to have really good footwork at tackle, especially for an offensive line that hasn't always graded out really well with pass protection. So I think Pounds is a guy who's a good athlete. We've all seen the videos of him dunking the ball and all that kind of stuff. So now he just needs to put everything together. Travion Green's coming from a different place. He was a kid that was super heavy in high school, had to drop a lot of weight and work himself into the body he has now. And with that, they're working on the footwork, they're working on the quickness, they're working on the agility, they're working on the body balance, they're working on a guy who's able to take the step back, deal with engagement, and maintain his block, maintain his balance, maintain what his mission is. And that's something that is a work in progress, because offensive linemen generally aren't guys that come in and play overnight. You rarely snap a finger and a guy's ready to roll. Every once in a while, Alabama has one like that. Every once in a while, Georgia might, or Clemson might have someone like that. Very rare that North Carolina has, James Hurst, I think, is the first guy that comes to mind of someone who came in and played right away and was effective. But these guys aren't James Hurst, at least not yet. Now, the staff believes that both Green and Pounds could be NFL players, but they're never going to find out unless they play. And that's why I think you're going to see them both get on a field for a series here and there, see what they can do to try to escalate the improvement process so they can build toward going 8 deep. If they go 8 deep, I think the 8 guys in that, the next 2 reserves, that would be their preference filling out the 8 deep would be Pounds and it would be Green. Now, a lot of people are probably wondering, where is Zach Rice in the process here? Where is he in the mix? Well, Zach Rice is coming along. And every time I've asked about Zach, either on or off the record, in different people, now this is different people I've spoken to, I kind of get the same thing. Look, he's a guy that had to learn how to be a college football player. He had to learn how to engage meaning contact, the physicality, sustaining physicality on a block. He didn't have to do that in high school. He was throwing kids around like a rag doll in high school, but you can't do that in college. So footwork, balance, sustaining blocks. When you think about an offensive line on a sled, they get on the sled and they push and they drive and they drive and they drive. It's a leg thing, right? If you ever have a chance to watch a high school practice, go watch it and watch the sled drills, and you'll understand what they mean by sustaining engagement. You have to keep the drive going. Zach never had to do that in high school, but he has to now. Now he's made progress. He's trimmed down. He's a little bit quicker. And the staff believes he's headed in the right direction, but he's not there yet. Will he get there at some point this season? Perhaps so. And if he were to do that, along with Pounds and along with Green, and suddenly this offensive line is 9 deep, that would be huge, because offensive line usually sustain some kind of attrition. It's the one position group where you're guaranteed contact on every snap. And a lot of the times it's head contact. So there's going to be attrition. So it's vital that they get a few more guys that they can trust to get out there. Also to give players a rest. You know, the 2 position groups that rarely get subbed out are quarterback and offensive line, especially last year with Jack Bicknell. Jack Bicknell had no interest in playing reserves, and that was a problem. And I think it was a source of contention at times on that staff, because some guys could have gotten 5 or 6 snaps here and there that were needed that they didn't get. So now the staff has to escalate that process. I think there will be more of a commitment to getting those guys in the field. I think Randy Clements, who is known for teaching guys about being glass chewers up front, sustaining those blocks, getting into a defender a little bit more and driving them. I think you're going to see more of that from the line this year. And obviously that requires that the backup guys do that to get on the field. A couple of other guys to throw out there. The second team offensive line, Pounds at left tackle, Malik McGowan at left guard, Chance Carroll, a walk-on at center, but I do think that Willie Lampkin would be the backup center, but Carroll is running with the 2s, or I guess the white team. Zach Rice at right guard, Trevion Green at right tackle. A couple of other true freshmen for people to know about. RJ Grigsby is hurt right now, and I do not know how long he'll be out. He was doing really well. He was drawing rave reviews from the staff. Talk to some people off the record, they'll tell you, man, RJ Grigsby is a guy that might even get on the field this year. And also DJ Geth, whose father, Ed, was on the 93 National Championship basketball team. He had a really good spring. I don't have that much intel about how he's doing in fall camp so far, but he's a name that the staff was really intrigued by. Someone that maybe when they play Campbell, if there's a game where it's a 3 or 4 touchdown margin, you might get him out in the field for a few reps just to see what he can do. And at the line of scrimmage, every rep you get in a game is so valuable. It's so valuable for these guys. So hopefully for him and for the staff, they'll have an opportunity to see some of those guys in those situations. So you've got your starting 5 plus 1. So you have 6. They need 2 more. And as I said, if it's Diego Pounds and it's Trevion Green, the staff will be thrilled. If you throw a Zach Rice in there, play both guard spots, I think they'll be ecstatic to go 9 deep. That's probably as high as this group will go this year. And that is if everything works out the way the staff would love for it to work out. So that's the offensive line. It's the most important position outside of quarterback on offense. It's a position that could determine how effective this team is in short yardage situations and offensively in scoring touchdowns in the red zone, an area that they dropped off a lot in big time last season. And they need to keep Drake healthy. I don't think there's a tremendous amount of confidence just yet behind Drake at quarterback. So they want to minimize the hits, and this group is going to be tasked with the responsibility of minimizing the number of times that Drake May gets popped. Anyway, guys, appreciate you stopping by for this solo drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. Remember, for $8.33 a month, you can be an insider too. Just head on over to our boards, grow yourself into our community. There's all kinds of wonderful discussions going on right now. Lots of cool stuff about the ACC's future. A lot of stuff about Tez Walker, a lot of stuff about basketball. Basketball boards are always hopping 12 months out of the year. I'm AJ. Thanks for stopping by.